Hello everyone and welcome to the second recap and review of Boys to Planet. As always, we'll begin with any updates, news or fandom events that have happened in the past week. These are really long episodes, so let's do a lightning round. I'll try to post more in-depth information in the comments below. Xinyu and Wonbin have been revealed to be a part of Wake 1 prior and during the show. Both have terminated their contracts. Xinyu has released an apology, pretty much confirming most of his attitude and actions. He'll currently remain on the show. Peng Jinyu's past social media posts have been a topic of discussion. These posts were made when he was around 13 or 14. He's been accused of being a Jungkook and Espantai, as well other comments. With that being said, I could not find any formal thread that contains all the accusations, so take this with a grain of salt. Overall, the fandom has been in genuine shambles and it's miserable out here, guys. I don't know, get me out. Like always, do your own research and come to your own conclusions. With that being said, let's get into K-Planet Episode 2. The episode starts once again the class test. First with Way's Kim Junseo class test. I low-key did not expect to have another BL actor this season, but here you go now. After Kenny's Fugition out, Junseo performed Sweet Venom by Hanbin. I thought it was okay, and that's reflected with his score of 2 stars, his main critique being his facial expressions. Next is the young Hyunjun of Newer performing Gum by Yeonjun. While he did great, it low-key made me realize how vital Yeonjun's vocal tone is for this song. LOL. Hyunjun receives All-Star. After quick dance duo with Kenny and Hyunjun and some just this glazing, we move on to Wake 1 hip-hop. Jung sang Jaehyun and Justin perform Artist by Zico. I thought the performance was fine. Justin gets 1 star while Sang Jaehyun receives 2. Both DKB and WHB are introduced at the same time, which basically means the show doesn't give a fuck. First up is WHB, where Kim Jun-min, Mun Won-jun and Jun Lee-jang perform Future Perfect by Hanbin. Personally, I really wasn't that big of a fan of this stage other than Jun-min, and I think it's mostly because of their vocal tone. We don't get their scores yet as we jump to DKB's Yang Hui-chan and Harry Jun performing Back Down by P1 Harmony. I really enjoyed this performance like a lot. I think they did amazing. Both DKB members as well as Jun-min receive all stars. The other WHB members receive 2 stars. And finally we get the awaited Yumeki. Yumeki performs Rainism, which I have to agree his singing was just not good. I know it's more of an unpopular opinion, but I think it's fair for him to have gotten 1 star for dancing, but we'll get into some more drama later regarding his rank. Side note, throughout both episodes they used Seowon's reactions for genuinely almost every stage and we don't even get to see his. I feel they're just going to use him as comedy relief like they did with him and Woonki in Season 1. In the indoor class evaluations, 20 trainees received All-Star, 24 received 2 stars, 25 received 1 star, 11 were eliminated. They also received their uniforms, which I low-key think are ugly like all of them. A second class test is then revealed, which is just the signal song test. There's an initial mentor score that determines placement of the trainees during the performance. The final score is determined in combination of mentor and star creator views. This score determines their elimination. Soon Hanbin demonstrates the signal song choreography for all stars. Thank you, love you, better have gotten a huge check for this. The boys finally move into the planet camp where their housing is determined by their class, similarly to Island. But God, I find this ridiculous. The lower classes can't even bring in luggage and have to shove everything in boxes because there's literally not enough room in their dorms for it. Like, what the actual fuck is wrong with you? Anyways, there's a mascot dog for some reason, like an actual dog, and I don't know if he's promotion for something, but I kinda love it. We start vocal training for the signal song, in which we have short focus on Leo, who is praised for his singing, as well as Chuu for not being able to talk to a mentor. We then start dance practice, where Sangwon struggles to keep up with the choreography and is called out. Yumeki on the other hand kills it, of course, and I know Yumeki has been dogged on for his stage presence, which involves a lot of mouth movements. He especially fake shoes a lot, and while I didn't really mind it at first, I feel it's now excessive. I genuinely think he has what it takes to be an amazing performer. He just overdoes certain facial expressions way too much. Anyways, up next is All Stars' turn to go over choreo, in which both Leo and Sangwon are critiqued. Alongside those two, Masato is also critiqued and him, as well as Taejo, become no-star candidates. I've also noticed Chuu has been given a lot of screen time this episode. We skip to All-Star, which goes really well up until Taejo. Mentor Seok-hoon asks him to re-sing the same note again and again, but it seems he'd lost a lot of confidence. Eventually he gets it and we move on. Back to the 1-star practices. Sho is praised for his dancing, and even takes a little over during practice, stepping over Yumeki. I'd say Sho is really the first trainee to not be edited positively. He's shown as not a good teacher, either teaching the wrong moves, speaking over and cutting off Yumeki, etc. With that, we move on to Star's practice. Junseo comforts Masato, however during practice he still struggles with choreography. Junseo takes on the leader role for Masato, and while Masato is shown as a slow learner in both vocal and dance, it's not in a negative light. I really believe he'll be given an underdog story, as he's shown going to the 1-star class to learn from Yumeki, and again a huge edit is given to him. Anyways, there's a surprise visit by Hanbin, and yeah, at this point the Haobin aspect of this show is getting really excessive. After some trainees call their family, it finally comes time for the signal song test. We get a long list of 1-star montages until eventually Aoshi, Rhiannon and Donghyun are the first ones promoted to 2 stars. Eventually it's Sho's turn, who's critiqued for both dancing and singing. He stays in 1 star. I can confidently say now that Sho is the first to be given the villain edit. At first it seemed to be more of a accidentally overstepping type of deal, but now he's depicted as overconfident, cocky and even incompetent. With that being said, Jaehyun is the first to have his class put on hold. Liu is up next, who is crazy nervous. With how much focus this episode has given him, I expected him to go up, and while he started off well, it kinda fell apart. He skipped a lot of lines and is also put on hold. Yumeki then goes up. He ended up doing most of the teaching and claims to not have had much solo time to practice for himself. Eventually he's given that time which the show focuses on, and he does see some improvement. Still, while yes, I think he did get a lot better, it was for sure not to the all-star level which he receives. We're now on to 2 stars with Min Jae up first. He messes up the lyrics quite a lot, and when asked if he was nervous he says no, and just confessed he couldn't memorize it. My immediate thought is, why would you say that? While I think he meant it in earnest, the judges are obviously not going to take it well. There's absolutely a chance this was edited, and even a chance he said this on purpose, but he's demoted to 1 star. Lee Hype had almost the opposite problem of Yumeki, where his singing was amazing but dance not so much. He's demoted. I've seen a lot of discussion regarding this, and to be completely fair, the judges were different for their evaluations. I guess you could also argue that during the performance we'll be seeing them perform rather than hearing, so they'd be more lenient on vocal lacking than dance lacking. Still, his demotion and eventual elimination is really strange. There's even discussions of potential Riggory, as he is one of the more popular trainees. We then have more demotions to 1 star with Sang Haein, and eventually a promotion to all-star with Junseo. Like I said last episode, I actually think Junseo will have a decent run on this show, potentially making it to the finals, but I really don't see him debuting. Suin, Hu Jun and In-Hu, Junseo are all promoted as well. Junseo goes up next, and he's given the leader edit, practicing, comforting and helping with the entirety of 2 star. His class is put on hold. Masato's performance is rocky. Despite not doing the best, he's still getting a really favorable edit in my opinion. He stays in 2 star. The first of all stars to go up is Jun Min. He stays in all star alongside Jeonwoo and Kong Min. By the way, it's obvious Jeonwoo has been edited out to have the Korean center have 0 screen time for the signal song stage. Yeah, I'd say the writing is clearly on the wall. Huey-chan and Harry Jun are the first to be demoted to 2 stars. Then Taejo, a no-star candidate, is able to stay in all-star. They put a huge focus on Leo and Sangwon struggling, but let's be real, it's for an eventual beneficial edit like Kumwon. While Leo stays in all-star, Sangwon Loki struggles with the test and is put on hold. As for those on hold, Sangwon's final class is all-star. Donghyun and Donghyun are demoted to 2 star. Junseo stays in 2 star. Chris is demoted to no star. Yu-chan, Justin are also demoted to no star. Finally, Liu stays in 1 star. For the killing part, the mentors choose 3 candidates, those being Kong Min, Jeonwoo and Young Jun. The trainees then get to vote for their center, which turns out to be Jeonwoo. 17 people will be eliminated this round. Here are the classes. The episode ends with Wonwon Seong-Seong-woo officially starting the merge. Guys, the ratio of Chinese and Korean is ridiculous. Overall, I feel the same way I did this episode as episode 1 of K-Planet. It's meh. I really don't feel any attachment to any of the trainees, but I feel that'll change soon. With Jeonwoo and Woojin's apology, I really feel they're going to find other trainees to focus on, Sangwon most definitely is taking over Jianwoo's spot in the edit. And by that I mean being pushed as this season's #1. And I low-key found it surprising that Woojin would also be practically wiped from the edit. With that, here are the current top 8 of the Korean trainees. And now let's get into C Planet's episode 2. We start episode 2 of C Planet also back at the class test. We start with the boys Planet team of Kairsjin, Saijindin and Zhang Hao performing Chick Chick Boom. They're critiqued mostly for dance. Kairsjin and Saijingsin gets 1 star, Zhang Hao received 2. After them Donghan Hai performs I'll See You Tomorrow by TXT. He begins a bit fast which I dead-ass did not notice, but that's on me. I just don't have musical talent lol. The editing is so fucking dramatic it's starting to get unwatchable. Like I really thought episode 1 wasn't bad, but now dude please. So many of the comments are unnecessary, and trust me we'll get to that very soon. Really the main thing about Hai's performance was that he was a little quiet. I still thought it was fun and he receives all-star, so I guess it's okay. Anyways, following Hai we get a short montage which I truthfully can't really review. The only thing of note is Xinyu getting all-star. Finally we get to Boy's story. It's honestly really sad, and while this show does do more effort in recognizing all experienced idols, I think it's also important to remember how many of these stories are common in these shows. It's genuinely heartbreaking. With that, Lee Zhao, Jaehyun, and Hee Din Ling perform Backdoor by Stray Kids. It was fantastic. Other than one misstep it was amazing. But here's where the bullshit starts. Praise after praise after praise for this performance. But then they give Hanyu and Zhao to star and Din Long, and you want to know why. Because of visual. And wait, what the fuck are you saying bro? Actually, what the actual hell are you talking about? I found it really disappointing, especially since they come up with every and any excuse to give trainees all-star in other scenarios, like bullshit from a barrel. And yes, I don't think Jaejoong's tone was necessarily lose weight you fatty, but I also think he deserves some of the lashings he's getting. I don't know. Anyways, with that bittersweet ending, the class test is over. In the end, 13 trainees received all-star, 23 2 stars, 31 1 stars, and 13 were eliminated. Once again, like K-Planet, the all-stars get to see the choreo before anyone, Dance by Zhang Hao. Once again, the boys move into their dinky little dorms and receive their uniforms, which I think are much cuter than the K uniforms. With that, practice for the signal song begins. Mentor Seok Hoon steps in for vocal lessons, in which most struggle with, and it's a similar experience with dance. For choreo, Limit Jack and Sun Hengyu seem to struggle the most out of the all-stars. Again, something I really like about C Planet is how low-key mean everyone is, but in a playful way. Like everyone boos Limit Jack and cheer when the dance mentor, I forget his name, disses him. Like they make this show so enjoyable. With that being said, the trainees are critiqued for laughing when messing up, and I know some people will have a problem with this critique, but I can agree. There for sure is a time and place, and I don't necessarily blame the mentors for being disappointed or offended, if you know what I mean. Jaejoong Crossing in particular is called out during initial practice for not listening, and here's where I say that he's for sure getting the villain edit. They even added a voice clip of him saying, "Why am I getting scolded? Net, you're not slick." Overall, the 1 stars do well. Jong Fan is especially praised for dancing. The no-star candidates become Zhao Guangsu, Jaejoong Crossing, and Limit Jack. From there, Jieding and Kuyong go and visit the 1-star practice room. Again, Jong Fan is highlighted as being a good dancer. However, I want to point something out. Despite Jong Fan getting praised and getting screen time, he isn't exactly given a storyline. For example, Masato and Liu from the Korean episode got significant screen time, but more importantly a base for a potential storyline. Here it's more of just a good job, which is beneficial. Any positive screen time is good, but I think it's a distinction many don't point out. There's no character, as dystopian as that sounds, no underdog or hard worker despite his skills. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying lol. I'm not saying he's boring, but the way the edit frames him. The edit does focus on Guangsu, but more in a sad way. He doesn't really do well in dance, and he has his hand up the entire time during vocal lessons to go up, but is never chosen, like poor guy. Eventually Guangsu bursts into tears, and it does seem like the show is setting him up for a small underdog or crazy improvement storyline. During the to-star vocal lessons, Jaejoong Crossing does his Jaejoong Crossing thing. It's fun, it's cookie, it's silly, but he's critiqued for being too much of a unique style. Even during dance he's low-key berated, and I feel really bad for him. Like, to a certain extent it's fair, but of course it'd hurt. We move on to the all-star practices. Vocal lessons don't go well, like at all. Soon Jaehyun is especially critiqued and depicted as almost incompetent. Limit Jack is also critiqued, and thus is where the "you're tone deaf" comment comes from. This is honestly my favorite part of the episode because Jack doesn't shut up and keeps digging himself deeper, and there's a clip of Hong Hai like trying to shut him up. Anson is then critiqued for confidence, but again, let's be real, this is set up for a positive edit down the line. He's then shown practicing a lot, and you get the gist. Side note, I found it weird the Chinese contestants called their parents on like a telephone booth and not normal cell phones, and they have limits based on class like Ha. We then finally begin the class tests. The 1 stars are overall underwhelming, with most staying in that rating until Guangsu, who does really well, going up to 2 stars. Zhang Fen ended up getting sick before the test but was still able to move into All-Star. The 2 stars are also pretty much the same, however, with a lot of demotions. Xinyu is given a pretty decent storyline with his cousin Qnan leaving the show. He does really well on the test and is promoted. Following Xinyu, Sen is the next promoted to All-Star. Ultimately, Zhang Crossing is up, who claims he has a hard time practicing with a lot of people. This seems like it'll come up again next episode, lol. I genuinely thought he did fine, but he's demoted. Finally, the All-Stars are up. First is Nyan, which I genuinely found the rendition of the song in his like depths of the sea voice really entertaining. For the most part, everyone keeps their rank, but Din Long is initially worried as he struggled a bit during practice. Still, he pulls through and stays All-Star. Limit Jack is next and is pretty much immediately demoted to 1 star. Some trainees are re-evaluated. For example, Zhang Crossing is moved up back to 2 stars, etc. Some trainees are re-evaluated. For example, Zhang Crossing is moved up back to 2 stars, etc. As for those on hold, Kaiwin stays 2 stars, and Angson also stays All-Star. Then the 3 killing part candidates are revealed: Nyan Bohen, Zhang Hao, and Angson. Of course, we already know Angson is voted for center. Finally, the final ratings and eliminations are revealed. I really don't want to throw rigging accusations around, but the ratings make no sense to me. A lot of the Chinese contestants have spoken out following their elimination, and while there hasn't been hard allegation, I think they have all the right to be pissed. Like last episode, you really loved the Chinese episode so much more than the Korean episode. The trainees are just so much more fun and entertaining, and I don't know. Overall, episode 2 is solid, but it feels like it's going to go downhill from now on. Personally, I've grown to really love Nyan Boheng, but I wouldn't say he's my one pick just yet. I'm still lending to Angson. Anyways, what are your thoughts on episode 2? Who are your current picks? Remember to subscribe and like for all Boys Planet 2 recaps and reviews. I'll see you all next week. Here are the current Chinese top 8 as well as my week's picks.